of the Gambia Armed Forces, together with then Brigadier General Mamat O. Cham as the Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, then Colonel Usman Gomez as the Commander of the Gambia National Army, and then Colonel Turo Jaune as the Commander of the Republican National Guard. These appointments were parts of the security sector reforms of the Gambia Armed Forces. Subsequent to these appointments, the flag officers were thereafter promoted to the ranks of Lieutenant General, Major General, and Brigadier General, respectively, by His Excellency the President in the month of October 2020. Therefore, on this special occasion, I want to take this opportunity, first and foremost, to thank Almighty God for His endless blessings and for giving us good health to witness this decoration. Your Excellency, at this juncture, on behalf of the entire members of the Gambia Armed Forces, I wish to heartily congratulate the Chief of Defense Staff, his deputy, as well as the commanders of the Gambia National Army and Republican National Guard, respectively, on their much-deserved and meritorious promotion. Before going further, please allow me to recognize the presence in our midst also of the National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Momodu Baji. You're welcome, sir. With your kind permission, Your Excellency, the decoration ceremony will be conducted in the following manner. I shall call on the flag officer to be decorated, precisely the commander, to rise whilst I read his citation. Thereafter, I shall invite you, Your Excellency, to decorate the commander to his new rank. After the decoration, the respective commanders will take the 6 oaths, and these shall be administered by the Deputy Secretary General, Madam Saleh Toure. Thereafter, the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Yakuba A. Drame, shall be invited to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of his decorated officers. Thereafter, I shall invite the Honorable Minister of Defense, Ambassador Sheikh Omar Faye, to deliver his remarks. The ceremony shall climax with Your Excellency's keynote address to this August gathering. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is worthy to mention that promotions in the military, as well as other human spheres of endeavor, are meant to reward hard work, dedication to duty, and above all, total loyalty and devotion to the ideals of an organization. And the Gambia Armed Forces is not an exception to this reality. It is against this backdrop that we are gathered here this morning to witness the decoration of the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, the Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, and the service commanders by the President, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, who is also the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces. Sir, allow me at this juncture to proceed to the decorations proper. I shall now invite the first service commander that shall be decorated this morning to kindly rise for his citation. May I kindly invite the commander of the Republican National Guard, Colonel Turo Jaune, to kindly rise for this citation. Sir. Colonel Jaune attended Nyakoi Primary School from 1969 to 1975. Later on in the same year, he proceeded to St. George's Junior Secondary School, where he spent 4 years before moving on to St. Augustine's then High School from 1979 to 1981. In 1981, he sat to the General Certificate Examinations Leaving Certificates, GCE O-levels, and acquired his school leaving certificates in the same year. He later pursued his GCE advanced level through private examinations and successfully acquired his advanced level certificate in the subsequent years. Upon completion of his basic formal education, Colonel Turo Jaune attended pre-service and in-service training courses as an unqualified teacher and later taught at the Pakalinding Primary School for 1 academic year. In 1982, Colonel Turo Jaune enlisted into the Gambia Police Force and underwent months of intensive police recruitment training, upon which he was attached at the Brikama Police Station, where he served as a station officer. In 1983, he underwent a basic gendarmerie training course for a period of 9 months. After successful completion of that training, he was promoted in 1984 to the rank of an officer cadet and served under various capacities and disciplines within the Gambia Gendarmerie formation. In 1985, he was promoted at the admin and quartermaster stores before moving to the Gendarmerie Training School as an instructor. Later on in the same year, he was moved to the motor transport section and made the motor transport officer for the unit, and later posted to the security wing of the Gendarmerie as a deputy commander. This was a position he held until 1987. In 1988, the commander underwent overseas training courses in the Kingdom of Morocco at the Royal Military Academy in Meknes, and later switched to a higher training institution, École Supérieure d'Application des Officiers de la Gendarmerie Royale. He returned to the Gambia in August 1989 and was posted at the Presidential Guards and appointed as the second in command. In 1990, the general officer served as a secretary to the security delegation led by Lieutenant Colonel Pasala Jan, then the commander of the Gambia National Gendarmerie, to the Republic of Turkey, in order to work on the modalities for the training of both officers and other ranks of the then Gambia National Gendarmerie. Colonel Jaune was privileged to travel to the Turkish Gendarmerie General Command in Ankara, and during this period, he was engaged in many meaningful discussions, which ultimately led to the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the two forces, that is the Gambia Armed Forces and the Turkish Gendarmerie. The cooperation between the two countries still exists. In 1993, the senior officer benefited from a similar visit to the Republic of Egypt, where he had received several lectures on modus operandi of police duties at the Police Academy headquarters and the Higher Studies College for Training, Development, and Research. Later in the same year, he assumed the position of commander of the Presidential Guards. During the same period, he went to the Federal Republic of Nigeria to attend VIP protection training at the Institute of State Security Services. Upon his return to the Gambia, he continued as a commander of the Presidential Guards until 1994. In 1994, Colonel Turo Jaune was appointed as the de facto Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Tactical Support Group, that's the TSG. This was the armed wing of the Gambia Police Force. In 1995, he was posted at the Police Training School and assigned with the task of creating the Police Intervention Unit, that's the PIU, which he was able to accomplish successfully. In December 1995, he was transferred to the police headquarters and appointed as the Commissioner for Admin and Personnel. In 1996, he took 1 year respite from the security sector and joined the hospitality industry. During this period, he served as the head of security before he was promoted by the board of directors to the position of human resources manager. In 2013, he was appointed as a police commissioner and in charge of the terrorism security unit at the TDA. 1 year on, in November 2016, he won the Best Employee of the Month award at the Skybank, where he also served very shortly. Due to his wealth of experience and indispensable service to the nation, Colonel Jaune was recalled back into the Gambia Armed Forces in 2017 after the dawn of the new dispensation under His Excellency the President, Mr. Adama Barrow, and appointed the commander of the State Guards Battalion. This was a position he held until March 2020, when he was appointed commander of the Republican National Guard. The senior officer was awarded several medals, including Good Conduct and Discipline Medal, Length of Service Medal, Patriotism and Service Medal, Sacrifice Medal awarded by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Adama Barrow, on the 18th of February 2017. He also achieved a higher diploma certificate in counterterrorism studies. The senior officers shall be decorated this morning by His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr. Adama Barrow, to the rank of Brigadier General. May I now kindly invite His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, to kindly do us the honor to decorate the senior officer to the rank of Brigadier General. Congratulations, and thank you, sir, for that decoration. Administration of the 6 oaths. May I now kindly invite Madam Salimata Toure to administer the 6 oaths. Ma'am.
I,
Colonel True Germany,
having been promoted to the rank of brigadier in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I shall work towards the maintenance of high standards of unity,
that I shall always work towards the maintenance of high standards of unity,
patriotism,
patriotism,
progress and discipline
progress and discipline
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of trust.
Oath of trust.
I,
Colonel True Germany,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will not directly or indirectly
that I will not directly or indirectly
betray the trust reposed on me by virtue of my appointment, so help me God.
betray the trust reposed on me by virtue of my appointment. So help me God.
Oath of secrecy.
Oath of secrecy.
I,
Colonel Trojane,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will not divulge any information
that I will not divulge any information
of a secret
and
strategic nature pertaining to the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia to an unauthorized person.
Pertaining to the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia to an unauthorized person.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the Commander-in-Chief.
Oath of allegiance to the Commander-in-Chief.
I,
Colonel Trojane,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief of the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
That I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief of the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the state.
Oath of allegiance to the state.
I,
Colonel Trojane,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the people of the Gambia.
Oath of allegiance to the people of the Gambia.
I,
Colonel Trojane,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will bear true allegiance
that I will bear true
and
allegiance
absolute loyalty to the people of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
and absolute loyalty to the people of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Usman Gomez is the Commander, Gambia National Army. The senior officer is also a lawyer by profession and a Rotary Peace Fellow. He was born in Sanyang Village, Kombos South District, Western Region, on the 30th of April, 1974. Colonel Usman Gomez started his early education at Jambang Jeli Primary School in 1981. He completed his ordinary level certificate exams in 1994 at the Institute for Continuing Education, ICE, and A-level in 1996 at Nusrat High School, respectively. The senior officer In his quest for knowledge, endeavored to study extensively and obtain a Bachelor of Laws degree, LLB honors, from the University of the Gambia in 2015, and a Barrister in Law from the Gambia Law School in 2016. Colonel Gomez was called to the bar as a barrister and a solicitor of the Supreme Court of the Gambia in 2016. In addition, the senior officer holds a double master's degree in Arts and Science Warfare from the National Defense University, Pakistan in 2018, and recently he obtained a Master of Arts in Peace Studies, that's Peace and Conflict Resolution, from the International Christian University in Japan in 2020. His military education career shows that he attended several military courses in order to prepare him for the enormous task of command and control responsibilities in the armed forces. He was enlisted into the Gambia Armed Forces in 1997 and did his basic military training at the Gambia National Guards Training School in Bakau. He attended his young officers course in Ghana at the Army Combat Training School in 1999, completed his junior and senior staff courses at the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Nigeria, and Quetta, Pakistan in 2009 and 2018, respectively. During his military career, the commander also attended professional and capacity building workshops, trainings, and seminars, such as the basic military training at the Gambia Armed Forces Training School. It was in May to August 1997. He also underwent a training course in diplomacy and security policy for military officers and civil servants involved in international relations. This was in 2015 with the Institute for Security Studies in Ethiopia. He also did his senior command and staff course at the Command and Staff College in Quetta, Pakistan, from July 2017 to June 2018. Conflict resolution course, this he attended at the International Christian University in Japan from the 28th of February to the 2nd of March 2019. The senior officer also attended the 17th ICU Rotary Peace Center annual seminar in 2018 in Tokyo, Japan. As an officer in the Gambia Armed Forces, he has held several command and staff appointments and also career appointments, both locally and internationally. From 1997 to May 2000, he has been a platoon commander as well as also a company commander at some other point. From September 2004 to November 2004, the senior officer was a company commander at the 1 Infantry Battalion Yundum under the Gambia National Army. From November 2004 to November 2005, he was a military observer and also a team leader in Nyala Darfur in Sudan. December 2006 to July 2007, he was the contingent second in command for Gamkoi 4 for AMIS. July 2007 to August 2007 was company commander when he came back and was posted at the Gambia National Guards in Bakau. In 2008, he was the second in command at the 2 Infantry Battalion in Farafenye. June 2009, he was the company commander for Gamkoi for the ECOWAS Standby Force during the exercise Jigi that was conducted in Burkina Faso. And he led his troops through a road movement from the Gambia to Burkina Faso and back. From February 2010 to August 2010, he was the contingent commander for the Gamkoi to Darfur. From 2014 to 2017, the senior officer was appointed the legal officer at the State Guards Battalion. And between February and July 2017, he became the legal officer at the Defense Headquarters, advising the Chief of Defense Staff on legal matters. Between March and July 2017, he was appointed as the Force Provost Marshal, as the head of the military police of the Gambia Armed Forces. From July to August 2019, he was a research intern at the West Africa Network for Peace Building, that's WANEP office in Dakar. And in March of last year, on precisely the 5th of March 2020, the senior officer was appointed by His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces as the commander of the Gambia National Army. The service commander is also fluent in Japanese and French languages, as well as speaking several other local languages, Wolof and Mandinka. May I now kindly invite His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr. Adama Barrow, to decorate the service commander.
Oath of office.
Oath of office.
I,
Colonel Usman Gomez,
having been promoted to the rank of the Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
that I shall always work towards maintenance of high standards of unity,
that I shall always work towards the maintenance of high standard of unity,
patriotism,
progress,
and discipline
and discipline
in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of trust.
Oath of trust.
I,
Colonel Usman Gomez,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
that I will not directly or indirectly betray the trust reposed on me by virtue of my appointment.
that I will not directly or indirectly betray the trust reposed on me by virtue of my appointment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of secrecy.
Oath of secrecy.
I,
Colonel Usman Gomez,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
that I will not divulge any information of a secret and strategic nature
that I will not divulge any information of a secret and strategic nature
pertaining to the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia to an unauthorized person.
pertaining to the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia to an unauthorized person.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the Commander-in-Chief.
Oath of allegiance to the Commander-in-Chief.
I,
Colonel Usman Gomez,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the state.
Oath of allegiance to the state.
I,
Colonel Usman Gomez,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Republic of the Gambia at all times. So help me God.
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Republic of the Gambia at all times. So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the people of the Gambia.
Oath of allegiance to the people of the Gambia.
I,
Colonel Usman Gomez,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
hereby swear on the Holy Bible
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the people of the Republic of the Gambia at all times, so help me God.
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the people of the Republic of the Gambia at all times. So help me God.
Congratulations.
May I at this juncture kindly invite Major General Mamat O. Cham. Major General Mamat O. Cham was born in Ker Mbuguma village in North Bank region of the Gambia. He completed his general certificate education, ordinary and advanced level certificates in 1983. He then joined the Gambia National Army in 1984 and did his basic infantry officer course training in Fort Benning, Georgia, United States of America. He is currently the Deputy Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces. The general officer has attended both civil and military courses. In 1985, he did the Specialized English Diploma course at the Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas, in the United States of America. In 1985, the flag officer did the Infantry Basic Officer course in Fort Benning, Georgia, United States of America. In 1986, he underwent an airborne course at the same Fort Benning in Georgia. The general officer, in 1986, did the Civil Affairs and Instructors course at the John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, in the United States of America. He did a company commander's course in 1991 at the School of Infantry and Tactics in Quetta, Pakistan. The general officer, still an ardent pursuer of educational excellence, in 1993 did his junior staff course at the Command and Staff College in Jaji, Nigeria. In 2015, he obtained a diploma in Information, Communication, and Technology at the Lasting Solutions Institute in Kanifing here in the Gambia. His educational pursuit saw him enroll at the University of the Gambia, where he obtained a Bachelor's of Science degree in Economics and Management in the year 2017. The general officer is currently doing a Bachelor of Law degree at the Faculty of Law at the University of the Gambia. The general officer is a distinguished career officer of the Gambia Armed Forces and has been assigned numerous command and staff appointments within the Gambia National Army and the Gambia Armed Forces during the period of his appointment with the Gambia Armed Forces. In 1985, he was a platoon commander, and in 1988, he was also a platoon commander and 2IC of Alpha Company in Yundum Barracks. In 1989, he was a company commander of Bravo Company. Between 1989 and 1990, he was the adjutant at the 1 Infantry Battalion, Yundum Barracks, Gambia National Army. Between 1991 and 1992, he served under the ECOMOG as the contingent commander of the Gambian contingent that was sent to Liberia. In 2017, upon his reinstatement into the Gambia Armed Forces, he was appointed by His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr. Adama Barrow, as the commander of the Gambia National Army. This was a position he held until 5th of March 2020, when His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief appointed him as the Deputy Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces. And in October 2020, the flag officer was promoted to the rank of Major General. He is happily married with Ami Seka Cham and blessed with 2 girls and 3 boys. He shall be decorated to the rank of Major General. May I now kindly invite the General Officer to march towards the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Congratulations.
Oath of office.
Oath of office.
I,
Brigadier General Muhammad O.A. Cham,
having been promoted to the rank of Major General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Major General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I shall always work towards the maintenance of high standards of unity,
that I shall always work towards the maintenance of high standards of unity,
patriotism,
patriotism,
progress,
progress,
and discipline
and-
in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
and discipline in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of trust.
Oath of trust.
I,
Brigadier General Muhammad O.A. Cham,
having been promoted to the rank of Major General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Major General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will not directly or indirectly
that I will not directly or indirectly
betray the trust reposed on me by virtue of my appointment.
betray the trust reposed on me by virtue of my appointment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of secrecy.
Oath of secrecy.
I,
Brigadier General Muhammad O.A. Cham,
having been promoted to the rank of Major General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Major General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will not divulge any information of a secret and strategic nature pertaining to the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia to an unauthorized person.
that I will not divulge any information of a secret or strategic nature pertaining to the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia to an unauthorized person.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the Commander-in-Chief.
Oath of allegiance to the Commander-in-Chief.
I,
Brigadier General Muhammad O.A. Cham,
having been promoted to the rank of Major General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of a Major General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the state.
Oath of allegiance to the state.
I,
Brigadier General Muhammad O.A. Cham,
having been promoted to the rank of Major General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Major General in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Republic of the Gambia at all times, so help me God.
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Republic of the Gambia at all times. So help me God.
Major General Yakubu A. Drame was born on the 29th of August 1963 in Buyam, Fonyi Kansala District, Republic of the Gambia. His distinguished military career began in August 1985. During the period under review, Major General Drame held various regimental command positions and staff appointments at all levels, both at home and overseas, including outstanding tours of duty in peacekeeping operations under the auspices of the United Nations, African Union, and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Some of the appointments held by the General Officer include Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, Gambia National Army, Chairman of the National Organizing Committee on the margins of the meeting of the Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff of ECOWAS held in Banjul, Director of Security and Operations for the Banjul AU Heads of States and Government Summit, Camp Commandant, Force Headquarters African Mission in Sudan, Darfur, Contingent Commander, Force Protection, AMIS Force Headquarters in Darfur. He was also Director of Training and Operations at the Defense Headquarters of the Gambia Armed Forces. He was at one time also Chief of Admin and Personnel at the Force Headquarters at the ECOWAS mission in Liberia, a military observer responsible for DDR and military information, respectively, with the United Nations Assistance Mission in Sierra Leone. He was Deputy Commandant at the Gambia Armed Forces Training School, commanding officer of all the 3 battalions of the Gambia Armed Forces, namely 1 Infantry Battalion in Yundum, 2 Infantry Battalion in Farafenye, and Guards Battalion in Fajara. He was also company commander at the Guards Battalion. He was at some point during his military career the military assistant to the then Army Commander General Dada. He was also regimental signal officer of the Gambia National Army, amongst other appointments held during his military career. In addition, the general officer attended various local and overseas command and staff military training courses in the United Kingdom, the United States, Nigeria, Pakistan, amongst others. He is a graduate of the Nigeria Armed Forces Command and Staff College. Furthermore, Major General Yakubu A. Drame had attended several professional and academic civil programs and courses both locally and internationally. The general officer had also participated in thematic debates, high-profile meetings, workshops, and seminars on diverse and topical subjects, both home and abroad. He is a proud recipient of several awards and decorations, including Good Conduct Medal Award, Long Service Medal, Distinguished Service Medal, UNAMSIL Medal, United Nations Mission in Liberia Medal, the UNAMID Medal for Darfur, ECOMOG Medal, the Past Staff Course, and Order of the Republic of the Gambia, among several other awards. During his tenure with ECOMID and AMIS peacekeeping operations, the general officer chaired several Force Headquarters disciplinary boards of inquiry, which he handled with consummate professionalism and integrity. His analytical approach, critical and well-balanced assessment of the situations at the time, coupled with timely submission of board findings and recommendations, had earned him unreserved respect and admiration by his superiors and juniors alike. Major General Drame is an accomplished diplomat. His diplomatic career began in April 2010 when he was deployed to the Diplomatic and Foreign Service, following an initial 25 years of distinguished military career. As a diplomat, he first served in the capacity of Deputy Head of Mission at the Embassy of the Republic of the Gambia to the Republic of Turkey from May 2010 to April 2012. Major General Yakubu A. Drame was later posted to the Permanent Mission of the Republic of the Gambia to the United Nations and appointed Deputy Permanent Representative. He served with distinction in that capacity for the period from April 2012 to May 2015. Given the multifaceted, intriguing, and challenging nature of multilateral diplomacy, General Drame had exceptional privilege to have presided over and engaged in constructive and purposeful dialogue, negotiation, and consensus building on complex and contentious issues, ranging from human rights domains, climate change, global terrorism, disarmament, working groups on the post-2015 development agenda, and peacekeeping operations, respectively, amongst several assignments. General Yakubu A. Drame was recalled home in May 2015, following the successful completion of his tour of duty with the Permanent Mission of the Republic of the Gambia to the United Nations. He was reinstated into the Gambia Armed Forces in June 2015 and reappointed as the Deputy Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces. He has held this position until March 2020, when he was appointed the 8th Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces by His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr. Adama Barrow. General Drame is happily married and blessed with children. During his leisure time, the Chief of Defense Staff enjoys reading, watching world-class news, discussing current affairs, playing volleyball, jogging, reading journals, and equally, he is a farmer. During the weekends, he spends most of his weekends way out into the field, where he tends to his gardens as part of sustaining his family and his livelihood. The general officer shall be decorated to the rank of Lieutenant General by His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces, Mr. Adama Barrow. Your Excellency, sir. Congratulations to the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces.
Oath of office. I,
Major General Yakuba A. Drame,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I shall always work towards the maintenance of high standards of unity,
that I shall always work towards the maintenance of high standards of unity,
patriotism, progress, and discipline in the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
and discipline in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of trust.
Oath of trust.
I,
Major General Yakuba A. Drame,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will not directly or indirectly betray the trust reposed on me by virtue of my appointment.
that I will not directly or indirectly betray the trust reposed on me by virtue of my appointment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of secrecy.
Oath of secrecy.
I,
Major General Yakuba A. Drame,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will not divulge
that I will not divulge
any information of a secret and strategic nature
any information of secret or strategic nature
pertaining to the armed forces of the Republic of the Gambia to an unauthorized person.
pertaining to the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia to an unauthorized person.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the Commander-in-Chief.
Oath of allegiance to the Commander-in-Chief.
I,
Major General Yakuba A. Drame,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the state.
Oath of allegiance to the state.
I,
Major General Yakuba A. Drame,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oath of allegiance to the people of the Gambia.
Oath of allegiance to the people of the Gambia.
I,
Major General Yakuba A. Drame,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
having been promoted to the rank of Lieutenant General in the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia,
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
hereby swear on the Holy Quran
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the people of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
that I will bear true allegiance and absolute loyalty to the people of the Republic of the Gambia at all times.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you so much.
The next item on our agenda is the remarks. And may I, at this juncture, kindly invite the Chief of Defense Staff, Gambia Armed Forces.
Your Excellency,
the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Adama Barrow, the Deputy Secretary General, the Honorable Minister of Defense, the National Security Advisor, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, the Deputy Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, service commanders of the Gambia Armed Forces, general officers of the Gambia Armed Forces here present, principal staff officers here present, distinguished members of the press, both print and of course electronic, distinguished government functionaries here present, ladies and gentlemen, and allow me to observe all protocols respectfully. Your Excellency, I feel deeply honored and gratified to deliver the vote of thanks on this historic occasion, marking a unique and special decoration and swearing-in ceremony of general and senior officers who constitute the apex and decision-making body, and they're equally vested with the responsibility for the administration and operations of the Gambia Armed Forces on a day-to-day basis. Your Excellency, distinguished invited guests, and members of the press, please allow me to take you down memory lane. It could be recalled that approximately a year ago, His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, His Excellency Mr. Adama Barrow, acting in accordance with the powers vested in him, effected a change in the command structure of the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia. In other words, it was precisely on the 5th of May 2020 that I was appointed as the 8th Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces. By the same token, 3 other senior members were equally appointed to the enviable but challenging positions of Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, commanders of the National Army and the Republican National Guard, respectively. This calculated executive decision, Your Excellency, constitute part of the security sector reform of this important and instrumental national defense and power called the Gambia National Armed Forces. These generals and senior officers are Brigadier General Mohamed Ocham then, Colonel Usman Gomez then, and Colonel Turo Jaune, who were for the challenge to continue the reform of the armed forces. Additionally, following our appointment to this senior position, and after having fulfilled all the requirements commensurable with the responsibility of the appointment we shoulder, His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief deem it fitting and appropriate to approve our promotions to the ranks of Lieutenant General, Major General, and of course, Brigadier General, respectively. Therefore, on this special occasion, I want to take this opportunity to first and foremost thank the Almighty Allah for His endless blessing and bounty, and for giving us the good health and opportunity to gather here today to witness the decoration and swearing-in ceremony. Secondly, allow me, Your Excellency, to sincerely thank you for approving this promotion, and as well as several other promotions in the Gambia Armed Forces from 2017 to date. This conscious step denotes the trust and confidence you have in the members of the armed forces, especially in the context of fulfilling our prescribed constitutional mandates. Your Excellency, if I may assert, promotion in the military is a privilege. Privilege in the context, it comes with associated challenges and responsibility. In other words, to whom much is given, much is expected in return. On the basis of that, Your Excellency, we are aware of these challenges and responsibility, and we sincerely promise that we will live up to those sacred promises and expectations from all Gambians, and including His Excellency, in fulfilling our defined functions as leaders of the armed forces. At this juncture, Your Excellency, allow me to heartily congratulate my colleagues, I mean the flag officer who were just promoted to various ranks, i.e. Major General and Brigadier General, for their much-deserved and meritorious promotion. It is worthy to mention that promotions in the military, as well as in other spheres of human endeavor, are meant to reward hard work, dedication to duty, and above all, absolute demonstration of loyalty and commitment to the ideals and spirit of the organization or institution one is working for. And by extension, it denotes that we pledge to advance the interest of the state and, of course, the Commander-in-Chief. Advancement in human civilization saw the modernization of this tradition, where members of the armed forces are periodically elevated in rank in recognition of their continued commitment, dedication, merit, selfless service, and above all, loyalty to the state and her people, and indeed to the Commander-in-Chief. This was carefully presented during the oath of ceremony. This is a privilege that is definitely a befitting motivation and brings in its trail immense joy and happiness to the beneficiary, beloved ones, as well as the immediate families. It may be instructive to state that you have stated at the dawn of this administration, you gave a firm pledge that you want a highly trained and highly professional military. That you made loud and clear. An armed forces that is apolitical. An armed forces that is very sensitive to the needs and aspirations of our Gambians. An armed forces that diligently and effectively discharges its constitutional mandates and other assigned roles to the satisfaction and admiration of our Gambians and non-Gambians alike. That was the message. Your Excellency, I'm happy to say today, members of the armed forces, we've inclined ourselves with that vision of yours. What we've done over the years, if I may assert, Your Excellency, we've tried to change the focus and thinking of members of the armed forces in line with your vision. And I can say with certainty, we're making a very positive headways, given what we've been able to achieve during the period under review. To achieve this, Your Excellency, you ensure that the command of the armed forces, they have the free rein to steer the affairs of this fine institution to the admiration of all Gambians and non-Gambians alike, while ensuring that the welfare of the troops were given the highest priority. Perhaps, Your Excellency, I may assert that since my assumption of the mantle of leadership of this fine institution we call the military, which coincided with the COVID-19 pandemic, I have worked assiduously towards achieving Your Excellency vision by reaching out to the relevant stakeholders both within and outside the military. First and foremost, having assumed the mantle of leadership, I had a very frank and constructive engagement with all service commanders, principal staff officer, senior members of the armed forces, in which case I was able to share with them what is my vision. And equally, what I expect from each and every one of them in complementing our existing efforts to move the armed forces to the next level. Equally, I took it upon myself, Your Excellency, to undertake a tour of all military installations, to the length and breadth of this country. Equally, it was designed exclusively to engage members of the armed forces, that is, include officers, soldiers, and rating, equally to share my vision with them and what is expected of them. The visit equally availed me the opportunity to know the living and working condition of members of the armed forces. In addition to my plan, I equally reached out to the other security chiefs, i.e. the Inspector General of Police, the Director General of National State Intelligence Agencies, Director General Immigrations, and the list will go on and forth. The purpose of the visit, Your Excellency, was to see how do we work together, putting or taking into account what we envisaged in the context of national interest. In other words, how do we consolidate on our gains together? And how do we complement our weaknesses? Bearing in mind, we share a common objective, that is to say, the preservation of peace and tranquility in this country. My conviction, Your Excellency, was this: no one single institution can do it by itself alone, not even the armed forces. Therefore, we felt the need to work in harmony, in cohesion, in advancing the interests of this country, more so in the context of the preservation of the peace and security in this country. That basically stands out in line with your vision, Your Excellency. You've always said the peace and security of the country is a determining factor if we want to advance this country to the next level. On the basis of that, as key players in that endeavor, we felt the need to bridge our gaps, to consolidate on our strengths together, and perhaps chart ways forward as to how we think we can move henceforth in advancing the peace and security of the country. It did not stop there. The visit also entails meeting key partners, to be more precise, some diplomatic members, because we have strong military ties with those countries. Indeed, also, my visit also availed me to meet with governors and other strategic partners, all geared towards how do we move the armed forces forward. During our interviews and discussions, some viable proposals were presented. Today, we're using most of the proposals to advance what we call a transform and reorganize armed forces. I'm happy to say, Your Excellency, this outreach program have yielded some invaluable and positive dividend in that they have equipped the Defense Headquarters with the requisite information to chart the way forward for the armed forces in line with what should be done to fulfill our constitutional mandate. It is with deep sense of accomplishment and hope that I address an end-of-year message to the gallant officers, soldiers, ratings of the Gambia Armed Forces, as we draw the curtain on an eventful year 2020. In my message, I cited my ardent conviction that together we have achieved a lot in terms of our set goals and objectives, despite the unprecedented and challenging impediments occasioned by, among other things, the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic, as we are all aware, had posed serious challenges to the country, and the armed forces is not an exception. It has impeded us in realizing some of our set strategic objectives in the area of training, operations, and capacity building. In order to mitigate the risk of transmission amongst personnel and their immediate family, we had to scale down some of our administrative, operational, and training activities at the respective headquarters in line with government regulations. In my message also, Your Excellency, I commend the service commanders, the commanding officers, the commandant, as well as the diligent men and women under uniform, for their restraint while observing the necessary hygiene protocols during the pandemic, and equally for their exceptional sacrifice to this nation, and by diligently serving the people and making a U-turn in their attitudes and behavior towards other Gambians. And I owe them a big commendation and a salute. At the request of Civil Authority, Your Excellency, personnel of the Gambia Armed Forces helped in the distribution of the government COVID-19 food packages to needy Gambians, as well as prepared isolation centers for infected persons. Additionally, during the month of June 2020, as part of the celebration marking World Blood Donor Day, members of the Gambia Armed Forces thronged all the major health centers and facilities to voluntarily donate blood. This was an exceptional achievement. All these activities were undertaken to promote civil-military cooperations with a view to win the hearts and minds of our brothers and sisters outside uniform, while at the same time restoring public confidence in the armed forces of this great country. We want the armed forces to be seen as the people's armed forces. In other words, we are at the service of the Gambian people. On the operational front, under my leadership, Your Excellency, and of course supported by Service Commander, the Deputy Chief of Defense, Principal Staff Officer, the Gambia Armed Forces launched Operation Cracknot, following Your Excellency declaration of a state of public emergency throughout the country, when the COVID-19 pandemic was declared worldwide in March of last year. I'm happy to report the personnel of the Gambia Armed Forces were mobilized to ensure that the risk of transmission of the COVID in the general public was contained through vigorous patrols, contact tracing, and quarantine of suspects as and when required. Additionally, the Gambia Armed Forces equally maintained an operational tempo with a new deployment in mid last year at Kerpate, that is in the North Bank region. Your Excellency, I'm happy to report that these deployments has been able to successfully curb the armed robbery activities by criminal gangs in that general area. It may be instructive to state that the Gambia Armed Forces has won the hearts and minds of many Gambians and non-Gambians alike through the conduct of these outreach activities, and also restore peace and security to vulnerable communities through vigorous patrol and other operations. All this achievement, amongst others, would not have been registered without the resolute commitment and diligence on the part of the gallant and fine men and women in uniform. If I may take this back, all this achievement would not have been registered without the resolute commitment and diligence on the part of the gallant and fine men and women in uniform. In the domain of peace support operations, a lot has been made in our frantic effort to deploy a quick reaction force in a UN mission in view of the pending closure of the Darfur mission in Sudan. On the basis of that, we've been constructively engaged in the United Nations through different fronts, through regular consultations, and the culmination point was when we had what we call the virtual advisory visit, which was held in the first week of December. The purpose of that assignment, if I may exercise, is to critically assess the state of readiness, the state of training, and of course to ascertain what we have in the context of logistics and capabilities to qualify us for possible deployment in any given UN missions. The Minister of Defense, Your Excellency, if I may answer, they've been very instrumental from the inception to this current state in guiding and shaping our discussions as and when required. Your Excellency, your personal commitment in this endeavor cannot be overemphasized. I recall vividly you've taken it personal. You've made it your personal responsibility to look into this concern, to see that what we aspire as an institution is achieved within the shortest possible times. Allow me to say we're very grateful, Your Excellency. Perhaps, if I may assert, that our troops in Darfur, that is to say GAMCOI 23, they would be coming back home on the 16th of March, after the end of a very successful mission to restore peace and security in that war-torn festive region of Darfur. Perhaps, if I may say also, the Gambia Armed Forces, we were pioneers of that mission. We've seen the mission from thick and thin. We've maintained our presence, first with the African mission in Sudan, and subsequently the combined African mission and the United Nations mission. In other words, a hybrid mission codenamed UNAMID. That is to say, African Union, United Nations hybrid mission in Sudan. During the period under review, we served for almost 18 years in those missions, and we've performed creditably well. In other words, we've performed in an enviable standard that is worthy of commendations. At this point, Your Excellency, I wish to express our appreciation to His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, His Excellency Adama Barrow,
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow, the Deputy Secretary General, National Security Advisor, Permanent Secretary and staff, the Minister of Defense, General Officers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am deeply honored and privileged to be given this opportunity to address you in this special occasion of yours, and I will also seize this opportunity to congratulate you on your promotion to this well-deserved and precious ranks. There is no doubt that you were promoted both based on abilities, competence, and of course, your loyalty. In the same vein, I would like to most sincerely thank all of you for your selfless service to this great country. Your Excellency, General Officers, ladies and gentlemen, promotions in the military are strictly merit-based and the embodiment of wisdom, good leadership, commitment to democratic norms and values. This decoration ceremony is one of a series of similar events signifying the security sector reform has taken a new shape and soon be delivered to the doorstep of every Gambian, inshallah. This makes us all hopeful that the ongoing reform process is paying dividend gradually, thereby brings the most needed reform that everyone is yearning for. You are therefore expected to deliver to the clarion call of the armed forces in particular and the Gambian people at large. It might also be important to state that the development of national security strategy, the security sector reform strategy documents are all geared towards laying a landmark in the transformation of the armed forces. To add to this impetus, my ministry is on the verge of coming up with a defense policy document. To this effect, I therefore summon all of you to make best use of these documents in order to build a professional defense institution that will uphold and guarantee the nation's sovereignty and be an epitome of national unity and hope. I wish to acknowledge the infinite support of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow, and his entire government for their support in this regard. I strongly believe, I have no doubt that the President as Commander-in-Chief has a defined, ambitious agenda for the armed forces, which will surely make you truly obligatory and promulgation of peace, prosperity, progress, democracy, and human dignity in our beloved country. It is a proud moment, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for you to gather here today. But I must remind you that this journey and that the one that lies ahead are not a smooth sailing. It requires the persistence and pledges of all of us. However, through resolute determination, hard work, and good leadership, you will conquer everything that comes your way. Therefore, I kindly urge all of you to give your contribution and wisdom to the maintenance of peace and stability to our beloved country. As leaders of our country, we should be committed to ensure that the armed forces of our nation is well-trained, motivated, and highly equipped, that will be responsive to the needs and aspirations of the Gambian people, and at the same time, being subordinate to civil authority. Equally, an armed force that will operate under the rule of law and respect for human rights. An armed force that will work towards mitigating the use or instigate violence for political, ideological, or ethnic purpose. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate your loyalty as an armed force to the nation and her people, and that you shall not relent in ensuring that the Gambian progresses and remains peaceful and stable. Your Excellency, this is a very important day and marks an epitome and pinnacle of success of your government for now shifting the armed forces to what everybody has been waiting for. Your Excellency, congratulations and thank you for the opportunity.
Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, security chiefs, officers and all security personnel present, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to preside over the decoration ceremony of these well-deserved officers who have been promoted to various ranks within the Gambia Armed Forces Gulf. I congratulate every one of them heartily, and I thank the Gambia Armed Forces leadership for their loyalty and devotion to nation. We are genuinely convinced that these promotions are based on merit and are the result of dedication to duty, exemplary leadership qualities, loyalty and trust earned by the decorated officers. We hope that their elevation to new positions will motivate them further to take leadership in spearheading the security reform agenda of the government. As trusted officers, it is incumbent upon you and all those under your command to continue to respond to the security needs and aspirations of the Gambian people. These call for acquainting themselves with the security sector reform program, guided by the National Security Policy and the National Security Sector Strategy 2020-2024. These national documents form a strong foundation to positively transform the security sector. In the implementation process, it is your determination, professionalism, and devotion to duty that will bring out the desired effect on your performance and impact. In simple terms, you will succeed only through hard work, discipline, and love for your country. These values should guide us all to discharge our duties responsibly. Our history and experience have put us in a unique situation that demands striking a delicate balance between service and duty on one hand, and discretion and tact on the other hand. In order to accommodate the liberty of the people and respect for the rule of law, working together, we can do this to foster unity and maintain a sense of security and calm among the residents of the country. Distinguished men and women in uniform, ladies and gentlemen, there is an obvious link between security and national development. As law enforcement and security agents, you will be confronted continuously with complex situations that require thoughtfulness and professionalism. This is particularly relevant as we transition into a new development phase, while trying to reorient the people within the current fragile democratic environment. Your work as law enforcement and security personnel involve frequent interventions to cope different forms of crimes. Such crimes perpetrated both in neighboring lands and our own territory include cyber threats, civil disturbances, drug trafficking, and acts of terrorism. because they are of great concern to all of us. It is imperative that we work collaboratively and mutually to make the Gambia the peaceful and stable nation we envision. As President and Commander-in-Chief, I will steadfastly continue to support and encourage the armed and security forces to be vigilant, flexible, responsive to threats, and adaptive to all circumstances within the confines of the law. The armed forces of a nation are an important aspect of its sovereignty and should be prepared enough to defend the people whenever called upon for duty. Therefore, Gambia Armed Forces should be proud always to execute its duties with honor and patriotic service to the country, especially during critical and sensitive process of rebuilding the nation and reasserting ourselves as a people. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I urge our gallant men and women in uniform and the entire defense and security community of the Republic to remain committed, loyal, and alert while on the path of duty. We repose our trust in you and implore you to be patient and act with integrity. As the necessary reforms of a holistic transformation of the Gambia, our common goal is a peaceful and progressive Gambia for all. With you, we can achieve this. Once again, I congratulate you all, and I thank you for your attention.